Right, afternoon everyone. I did say I'd come back and do a video last week on the child abuse issue, but I had a lot of things going on, so I thought I'd just do it today. This is really one of the most difficult things to speak about, but there is absolutely no denying at all at this point what's been going on, and the most horrific thing that has been going on is child abuse. The statistics of people that go missing, children that go missing every year, is 800,000 in the USA, is 280,000 in the UK, I believe. Where do they go? How do they get lost? How do they even end up in the trafficking system, which does exist? It's like a whole other world that we've all been hidden from, and we've lived in our safety bubbles for all this time, and now the truth is really coming to light. I just want to talk about, before I go into it, the distractions I was talking about on my last video, about what COVID has been doing. We know it's nothing to do with a virus really, it's about taking our freedoms away primarily, but there's something else going on behind the scenes that is just not being reported on, and that is the big well, it is being reported on in the mainstream media, but they're toning it down and saying that a lot of it is just a conspiracy, like a hoax, like Pizzagate. But anybody to have researched Pizzagate knows damn well it is not a conspiracy. It is the most disgusting, traumatizing, horrific thing you have ever seen in your life. And this is why people around you at the moment they might be babbling a lot of what you consider to be crazy nonsense, but actually it's because they've seen these things. And if you can imagine, researching it is bad enough. Imagine these kids having to endure it, and this is a whole worldwide massive pedophile ring that has been going on a long time. People in very high positions. You know, when we had the BLM protests in right in the middle of lockdown, which was another massive distraction, you know, that was funded by George Soros and co-founded by Charles Wade, and he was arrested back in 2016 for child trafficking. You know, the irony there is just incredible. But in terms of Pizzagate, I came across this 4 years ago, maybe 2016, you know, from the WikiLeaks files and everything that came out from that, the Anthony Weiner laptop that came out on the Clinton emails that she deleted, but didn't delete them off the server or the deeper server. And basically those emails, the emails that were found in them was the same time as when they brought out, the FBI released the pedophile codes that these people use. And when you read the emails, you know exactly what they're talking about when you've looked into Pizzagate and how these people speak to each other. And I'm talking, you know, the Clintons, the Obamas. In fact, there was one that was in the emails that it was Obama requesting $65,000 worth of hot dogs for a party he was having. That's code name for boys, little boys, hot dogs. When you've looked at the list, you'll see what I'm saying, the symbolism there too. And then Trump, actually, which I thought was bizarre at the time, but I'm, you know, a little bit more aware now. But I remember when at the beginning of his presidency, he bought all the footballers, I think it was burgers, and he bought hundreds and hundreds of burgers from fast food restaurants, and then he presented the bill to the public, and it was something like $5,500, showing you actually that the hot dog scenario with Obama had nothing to do with hot dogs and everything to do with little boys, and the things they do to these children are unreal. And this is just some of the stuff we know about. You know, there's a whole underground, there are tunnels worldwide where children are trafficked, they're bred underground for the most disgusting things that you would have seen, whether you believe in it or not. You would have seen it going around with the Pizzagate thing and the spirit cooking with Marina Abramovic and Lady Gaga. You would have seen those. And even if you didn't know anything about it, does it not strike you as odd that they make cakes out of you know, they make humans out of cake and they eat it, and it's symbolism for what they actually do on a deeper level, and it's really, really sick. And there are many people that have come out, or are coming out, talking about it, trying to. For example, we know Chris Cornell, Anthony Bourdain, Isaac Cappy, and Chester Bennington all died within a year. They were making a documentary on child trafficking, and they all suicided within a year. And you know, when I think about, in terms of Chester anyway, I was a massive, you know, I loved Linkin Park when I was a teenager, and when I listen to his music, it haunts me, because he's talking about his abuse. And you would have also seen the link between him and John Podesta, being his father. There's certainly, you know, case to say he massively resembles him. I think he probably was, and he was abused. And I don't know if you've seen anyone who's looked into Pizzagate would have looked and seen the Podesta artwork, and how sick and twisted it is. And you know, the people that are involved, this is why they've managed to keep a lid on it for so long. The people who are involved in such high, powerful positions. This is why, you know, all the stuff with Jimmy Savile, you know, he was one of the most prolific paedophiles we've ever encountered, and he was a very powerful man. He had very powerful connections, royalty. We've seen all the photos. He had keys to the care homes of little boys. He was I'm just saying now, I researched Jimmy Savile and the Ninth Circle a long time ago, and it absolutely haunted me. It really haunted me. I couldn't believe, you know, and when you look at footage of him now, you know, where, if you can find it, it was obvious. On the screens, it was obvious. And you think about the connections that they have, the politicians and everything that have been involved, that always seem to be guilty when they're dead. There's plenty of them around alive now that should be in prison. You know, something massive is going on right now. There are huge paedophile busts going on around the world. They're not being reported on for obvious reason, because they own the mainstream media. We're not seeing it. We're only seeing it on the alternative news. But these things are there, and they're real. Well, I just want to talk about James Alefantis as well, who owns the pizza place Comic Ping Pong, and you've seen photos of Obama and the Clintons in the basements playing table tennis with children. And if you have a look at his Instagram, I'm not sure if it's still up, but you will be able to find the tweets that were on, not tweets, sorry, the things on his Instagram, and how they use these code words like panda eyes. I can't even talk about what that is, because honestly, it just, after researching it, and it is a warning, you know, we have to know about it. We have to know about it so we do something about it, because these are the most vulnerable ever. These are children. They're so vulnerable. And, you know, us ignoring it and staying silent about it, it's not helping. And, you know, it's true what they say, those who know can't sleep. And it, you know, to think that happens and people just turn a blind eye to it, there is no denying that it goes on. Anyone to say they've researched Pizzagate and they think it's a hoax is lying, flat out lying. The evidence is there, the victims are there. We can see it. It's, you know, it's riddled in our music industry. The symbolism there is so blatant what they're doing, and many of them have been, you know, the likes of Justin Bieber and Miley Cyrus and Britney Spears, who went into the Disney Club, little, you know, very innocent to play, because they try and hook your children into it. Very innocent. Miley Cyrus was it Hannah Montana? And you know, but they were abused, and most of them speak about it in their songs. We can see it, and it needs to stop. Some of them are crying out for help. And some of them are huge abusers. You know, the Harvey Weinstein thing and the Jeffrey Epstein thing, they're just the tip of the iceberg. You know, they talk about trafficking children, which they are under 18 as a child anyway. But they stay away from the much darker stuff than that. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. And it's the the biggest industry there is, the most well hidden up until a certain point. If it wasn't for Seth Rich, who's dead now, obviously, he was murdered, leaking those documents to Julian Assange, we wouldn't even know half of this. And what was found in those emails, that if you've looked, you would have known about Frazzle Drip, what Hillary Clinton and Umar Abedin, I don't even want to talk about it. Many of you already know what it is. Well, 9 out of the 12 police officers, hardened investigators, to quote Sidney Powell, have been killed or suicided since then, and many of them threw up when they actually saw what it was. And I would strongly advise you to look into General Michael Flynn, and also find the YouTube video of Sidney Powell, his defence attorney, what she has to say about what was found on Anthony Weiner's laptop under the file life insurance. And, you know, these people are evil beyond. This is why so many people don't want to believe. And I wish, of course I wish it wasn't true. My God, it's horrific to even know about it, never mind endure it. So we've got to do something to stop it. We have to do something. And, you know, even if you're just sharing, not sharing, I know people don't like to do it. I know, because they don't want to be judged and they don't want to be called this and that. But being silent about it is even worse, in my opinion. When we don't know, we don't know. But when we do know, and there's something we can do about it, and we still do nothing, what kind of society are we living in? We've got to stand up now. And I know the things that are going to come to the surface, that are coming to the surface, they are absolutely traumatic. I'm not even going to sugarcoat any of this for you. It's horrific. It does make you lose sleep, so don't spend too much time there. You know, don't spend too much time there. I think a lot of it came out with the Wayfair thing. I was banned off Facebook then. I'm banned again now, by the way. I got a month ban for a home ed post I did, but so I'll just send this to people in inbox. But yeah, when the Wayfair thing blew up, and it was showing obviously how because this has been going on for such a long time, they ship them in, they ship children, and you know, Walmart, which is the equivalent of Asda over here, was basically set up for child trafficking, and they do it across the waters. And ironically enough, the name of the ship is Evergreen. And whose code is Evergreen? It's Hillary Clinton's code, if you didn't know. And they know that it's coming, and they are fighting everything tooth and nail to try and stop it. This is why you're going to see all these distractions coming out. They're gripping on. We've seen the music industry starting to fall apart. There's people in there who are crumbling. They know what's coming, you know, and it is going to shock the world. It already has to those of us who've seen it. But people, another one to look for, again, just for extra proof about your apparent role models and stars. Chrissy Teigen, her Twitter account goes back. People obviously grabbed her tweets. It was her account, and the things she was saying, this was back in 2011, 5 years before the FBI code for pedophiles was released, when they were so arrogant that they thought they could get away with it. And some of the things, even if you don't know anything about Pizzagate, go and read those tweets. You can find them, even though she's deleted 60,000 odd tweets and 1 million people off her Twitter. You can find those. They just circulate in Facebook and everywhere else. Even if you didn't know about the codes in to do with Pizzagate and how they communicate with each other, reading those are absolutely shocking, disgusting, and people are outraged. And then she moaned on that she was getting bullied, and it's insane. These people are still being protected, and it's got to stop. We need to start talking about it. We need to tell everyone we know. Don't be scared. We can't be scared, because there's kids suffering, really suffering, and let me tell you now, they'll take them any way they can. They really will, you know, and they go for the children's minds. They corrupt the kids' minds. It's disgusting. You've seen the symbolism. You've seen the the messages, the subconscious messaging. You've seen them in children's films and cartoons. That's intentional. They know how the subconscious mind works. And they're doing it they're trying to sexualize your children. You know, if you've ever looked into, there was an actual PI, it was called PI, the Pedophile Information Exchange, and this was an actual organisation of pro-paedophile people that actually ran from 1974 to 1983. It ran for a fucking decade. Paedophile Information Exchange. What does that mean? This was pre-internet days. Can you imagine they're going wild with it now? And then you had NAMBLA, North American Man Love Boy Association, or something like that. These are openly promoting paedophilia, and they want to abolish. They're taking it down a level. They're saying, well, we want to reduce the age of consent to 15, to 14, to 13, to 10. Patricia Hewitt, one of the MPs, Labour MP, said a few years ago. They actually want to abolish it, and they are using the media, they're using the entertainment industry to push it through, and schools. They're actually bringing, you've seen the sex ed in schools, you've seen it, they're going to try and in this open, successful relationship, under this successful relationship bullshit. It's just encouraging more of it. And when I found this out, I decided to find out how on earth did they manage. And I know that the school education system is bad, but I wondered how they managed to get something so sick and twisted into the curriculum. So I went back and I researched Alfred Kinsey, and I know some of you would have already researched him and you know of his work. And the institute, the Kinsey Institute, is still open to this day. I highly recommend, although it is a really, 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 really difficult watch. It's called the Kinsey Syndrome. It's about 2 hours, 45 minutes, something like that. I had to turn it off halfway through. And I had to watch the rest of it again. And I'm hardened to these things as much as they upset me. I can get through it usually. That was, especially when you get to table 34 and what that means. I don't even want to say what it is. I'm just going to leave that with you. But I just want to say that he carried on his research, it was called, that babies are sexual from birth. And they did experiments that are beyond sick, and then they produced what they call research, scientific research, as fact, and they've managed to use part of this for the education system. And this is why people are worried. You've got to stand up and say no. You've got to, and in some places they're saying you can't opt out. I don't know if that's true. There's a lot of fear-mongering going on, and I'm not here to fear-monger you or scare you. I'm just here to bring this really vital, important issue to you so that we can collectively do something about it. Like I say, things are being done about it, and this is why it's coming to the surface now. There are, but we're not being told about it on purpose. This is going to be horrific, and many people can't handle it at all. I know many people who started on this. I started on vaccines, and researching vaccines for me when I started at 4 months pregnant with my child, it traumatized me. I stayed up for hours and hours, and I read and I watched and I took it in, and I would cry because I couldn't believe that they were doing what they're doing to our children through vaccination. So when this hit me, it was like a shit ton of bricks. Like, I couldn't believe it. It is unbelievable, and this is why people will, try and turn away from it. But it goes on and it's rife, and we need to stop it. We really, really do. I just want to say, going back to the normalization of it. you know, there are TED Talks, and there are, you know, academics coming out and saying that being a paedophile is a disease, you know, and you know, it's they can't help it, and now they want to call themselves minor attracted persons. And look, if you're gonna put your hands on an innocent child, you're just a fucking monster in my eyes. And I know that might be wrong or whatever for me to say, but they can keep normalising it. You can see it everywhere, you know, even in films as well. I remember growing up, and you know, Dirty Dancing was a certificate 15, and you know, although it was a bit saucy, I think she says shit once in it, and you look at a 15 now, and even younger than that, and they're programming it to make it normal in your children's eyes. So, and you can see how they've tried to do it, and they are sick beyond anyone's imagination, but we've been hidden from it for so long. It's got to stop. It's really got to stop. I didn't really want to do this video just because I do struggle with it, you know, and when I'm focused on it a lot, it's traumatizing. It really is traumatizing, and we've just got to do something about it. Now's not the time to bury your heads in the sand anymore. You know, again, like I said on my last video, you can look at me like a loony, you know, just ranting and raving. I don't even know how much sense I've made in this video, to be honest, because I've jumped from bit to bit. I've tried to try and get as much in as I can, and you know, this is so vast. I can't. It's not easy to put into a video, but you know, I'll put some links and everything underneath this video for you to go and have a look at. But like I say, please just be aware of it, share it. Please don't be silent on it anymore. It's an uncomfortable truth for you, but imagine how these children feel. Imagine how scared, and oh, we have to stop it. We do. So, you know, just please speak about it to other people, and please try your best to spread the word. There, you know, there are things happening, there are protests happening, there are people, you know, are becoming more and more aware of it, and they're starting to do something about it. But please don't deny it anymore, because you're just doing a massive shit on these kids. You really, really are. In fact, I was speaking with somebody the other day on Facebook who lied and said Pizzagate was a hoax apparently, and they'd researched it for 4 years, and I know that's a fucking lie, because he just give me the bullshit while the mainstream media told him. Nobody. And you know, when I did a status, because it pissed me off, it really did piss me off, and I did a status about it, and I said, you know, for all you fucking flat out deniers, you know, it's because of people like you that this still carries on now, because there's no lack of evidence. You can pretend that you don't see it anymore, because you do. And what he said was that, so I had written the status and my friend commented on it, and he said, they're not deniers, they're enablers. And you know what? That's right. If you know that there's controversy surrounding it, and you don't speak about it because it makes you feel uncomfortable, because it hurts your feelings, because you don't want to know whether this is true or not, you just think how those kids feel. So please, guys, share this if it resonates with you. I will post some links underneath for more information on it, and I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to go into too much detail about what these sick fucks do to these children, because it's too much. But you can go away and have a look and just know that it happens, and then just help us sort it out. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.